So to start off, we're working with 1/4 inch thick by 1 1/4 wide, flat mild steel. We begin by forging about 1 1/4 inch down from the end on a half hit over the corner of the anvil. This will become the wrist of the hand, so we want to ensure that it's narrow, but not too narrow as to make it look disproportional. Now we go back and we fix the irregularities on the initial forging, taking all of that material and pushing it back over to where it belongs. This is simply done by forging on an angle into the wrist, pushing all that metal back down flat. Now the deformation that you have from the forging here is created risers, high spots. We don't worry about that right now because that actually will add to the aesthetic of the final piece. So we work on flattening it down a little bit, but we're not going to be overly critical about making everything originally flat and to stock thickness. So what we've got here now is the already developed arm and wrist, leaving the stock width original to create the hand. I'm going to take the bandsaw now and make 3 equal length cuts, which will become the 4 fingers of the hand. One will be a longer cut farther down, which will become the thumb. And then following those cuts, the lengths will be trimmed because, as you can see, the human hand, not all fingers are the same length. So I'll cut 1, 2, and 3, pinky, ring, and index. Those will get trimmed down, and then the thumb, lastly, will get cut. The middle finger will be left the original length. So right now we'll take this to the bandsaw and get those cut. At this point, turn down your volume. So here we have the hand now cut, the 3 equal cuts for the 4 main fingers of the hand and the 1 longer cut for the thumb. The pinky finger here got cut a little bit wide, and so this will be fixed with the grinder to thin that out a little bit. Back to the forge, where I will next take and radius the tops of each finger, and using another punch, the fingernails will be put in for all the fingers. So that's what's next in the process. Here I have a inner radiused 1/4 inch round tool that I use for contouring the fingers. Starting off, we're going to make sure that we know, is this a right hand or a left hand? Will it be open or will it be grabbing something? Because that matters. If it is a left hand and it is grabbing something, the inside of the fingers, or right hand for that matter, the inside of the fingers do not have to be worked. The outside of the fingers do, and so you need to know left hand or right hand so that you know what side of the fingers you'll be doing the radius work on. This one in particular will be a right-handed, and it will be holding something. So I'm only going to be doing the work on the top face of the fingers and the thumb. Now I want to make sure that enough radius is put onto the fingers to be as natural as possible. So that's one, as you can see, the pinky. The process will continue until I'm done with the rest. Have been radiused, and as you can see, they're starting to spread a little bit, and that we can fix just by simply coming back and gently persuading all of the fingers to come back to straight. Now, another technique that's demonstrated is by taking each finger individually and bending it back and doing a radius on the fingers, each independently. But by using a punch like this, I have a better ability to be able to just work the functioning side, the side that'll be seen, and not have to worry about bending back each finger on its own. This does make it quite a bit easier. Now, using an eye punch, I will go over each one and put in the fingernails. As you can see, I've already cut to length and pre-drilled my hole. That's a 5/16 hole that will then be drifted, or now be drifted and opened up to create the bottle opener. I won't show this process because I've already explained before previously in another video on how to do the bottle openers. I'm going to go ahead and move forward, make the bottle opener part here, the hoop and the tongue, and then I will continue back with the hand. Finished out the hoop and tongue for the bottle opener itself. Obviously, as you can see here, we have the hand, fingers, fingernails. What I'll be doing at this point now, oh yeah, and I marked it. What I'll be doing at this point now is starting to bend all of the fingers around the handle. I've already made up the hammer itself, just a cross peen, stainless steel handle. That's going to go in the hand and it'll be held as such. So what I'll do at this point right now is take another piece of this same diameter rod and use that as a mandrel to be able to form the shape for accepting the handle. So that's what we're doing. That's the next step. So I'll take a small ball peen hammer now and I'll start bending the fingers over the edge of the anvil. I want to do this very lightly, not to do a lot of heavy hitting as to deform the fingers. I want to try to keep everything as natural as possible, originally formed as possible, I should say. This will take multiple heats because you're wanting to work everything nice and easy and let everything move on its own rather than forcing it. That thumb, we want to take that thumb and bend that out of the way. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for. You want to make sure as well that there's enough space between the bottom of the thumb and the inner curl of the index finger, because you want that hand to be able to grab onto it. So you've got to have proper spacing. There has to be enough of a gap there, otherwise the handle will be kind of askew. Okay, now the fun begins. So I've got a 3/16 stainless rod that I'll be using for the handle of the hammer. What I'm going to do is fit that in there in between. This is why it's important to make sure that there's enough gap so that this would fit in place. And then I can just simply start putting that where I want, and I can start moving these fingers down to grab onto the handle. It doesn't have to be exact, but it does have to be close. Drive that out. We have the start of the fingers. So the next heat, I'll take that thumb and I'll push that thumb over now. Okay, so metal rod back in place. And now we're just going to take that thumb. We're going to push that thumb over where it belongs. And then kind of tweak a little bit the finished fingers. Not a big fan of the placement of the thumb, so I'm going to push it back a little bit. That's perfect. Tighten everything else down, and we have our hand. So now drive that pin back out again. Let's take a look at it after it cools down a little. So here's the little hammer that I made. So that's going to get set in the hand right now. That should hold everything where it belongs. Okay, next step right now is to kind of clean it up, see what it looks like. So here we are, all finished. Hopefully you were able to get something from this. Just kind of really a simple demonstration as to the how-to. Hopefully there was some information in there that came in useful. But there you have it. Arm & Hammer bottle opener. Forged hand with a hand hammer. And there you go.